Welcome to Bleachers and Speakers. I'm your host, June, and it's Foster's fault while we're late.
Yep.
He gets me in trouble all the time. Like 99% of the time when I get in trouble, Foster's usually has something to do with it. So I apologize. Foster, how are you today, sir?
Well, we're gonna work through these work through this situation, but it's Victory Monday, so I can't complain.
Victory Monday, man. This show is we got a lot to talk about, man. As you know, Lions won yesterday versus the Bears at home, 31-26, and it was the return of Justin Fields, and he was everything I imagined he would be. Probably a little better than what I think he'd do. If you look at his numbers, uh, he didn't have a ton of throwing yards. I think it was something like 170 yards passing, but he was very efficient. But he ran for 100 yards. Now, if you combine those two as a quarterback, that's a heck of a day. And there were times on drives where that very first drive of the game, he looked very dominant. He looked very comfortable. He was a weapon out there. There was a drive in the third quarter where they just looked unstoppable. He made some remarkable plays getting to the outside. He made some great throws. It was the kind of play that Chicago needs from him to be successful. And they said it on the broadcast a couple times that they were questioning, excuse me, they were questioning whether he was the guy. And with the way he's played before his injury, uh, for a couple games and versus Detroit yesterday, he's showing you he's the guy. And I hear echo Foss. Did you do something different?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
You still hear
Foster,
echo?
what'd you think about Justin yesterday, man?
I guess it's been so long since he's played, and I really don't watch. I don't follow the Bears very heavily, so I guess I kind of forgot how good of a runner he is. But I definitely got flashbacks to last year because he fared pretty well against us last year. They lost both games,
In
but
Detroit. In Detroit, he went crazy in Detroit running the ball.
yes, yes. So I don't know if he likes playing, in Detroit or something, but yeah, I definitely got flashbacks to the original, to the last game he played here, and he looked good, but it ended up not being enough when it was all said and done. So I'm thankful for that.
Um, the crazy thing is Detroit did not play their best yesterday. And it
Right.
was it looked kind of scary for a long time. Um, took the lead at half, but that third quarter, I think they had like a 9 minute, 8 or 9 minute drive. And by the end of the third, uh, I think Goff had threw his third interception by the end of the third. Did he throw any in the fourth quarter?
I'm not sure exactly the times of the game, but yeah, he definitely turned the ball over 3 times, and we fumbled on a kickoff too. So a lot of turnovers.
I know it was first two times was in the first half because they didn't capitalize. They didn't score a point off neither turnover in the first half, of neither interception. And
Right.
then you had the Craig Reynolds fiasco, another interception, uh, and the defense looked at times like we got to talk about RPOs, man. We got to talk about RPOs in our defense. I had a discussion with somebody on Facebook yesterday, and they said that they made a point saying that Detroit has Dak Prescott coming up, Dobbs coming up, and they mentioned another QB. But I said those were mobile quarterbacks and not quarterbacks that run RPOs. And I think we have more trouble with the RPO quarterback than mobile quarterbacks because nowadays a lot of quarterbacks are mobile, like a
Yeah.
lot of them, but they don't run RPO. It's a different ball game when you're playing against Jackson, you're playing against Justin Fields or Jalen Hurts that have plays designed for them to either run or pass or hand off. And I think that's where the Lions had the most trouble with Baltimore in that aspect. And then Justin Fields comes and he's running RPOs. And we're having a big problem versus the run play, pass option play and the quarterbacks. So there's some things that got to be tightened up. Because we definitely have issues and don't want to look too far ahead, but I think the best team in the NFC, Philly, RPO.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts and that offense, they run RPO. So it's something we have to show up. We have to face Justin Fields again. Dobbs from Minnesota, he's not an RPO offense, but he is a mobile quarterback. But like I said, most quarterbacks in the league nowadays, they're not the big Ben Roethlisberger type uh, running backs. Quarterbacks that the throwback ones. Most of them have a little speed and a little bit of escapability to them. You know what I'm saying? But and that can get out. Like for instance, what's my man name? Golly, we played the
What
first
team?
game of the season. Kansas.
Oh, Mahomes.
Mahomes. They don't run pass option, but he's pretty dangerous when he decides to run. But
Yeah.
like I said, most quarterbacks in the league have that ability to tuck it and run. Fortunately, we have golf, and he's not. He's one of the exceptions to what's to the quarterbacks in this league. But he's one of the few. He's one of the few. You can go down the NFL list of starting quarterbacks, and they all have quarterbacks that can tuck it and run, and that is a threat with their legs. But there's only a certain few that run that RPO, and that's what's giving the Lions the amount of trouble. And I wanted to ask you, Foster, why do you think that's such a problem with the Detroit defense stopping the RPO?
Um, Personnel. I mean, I think that Anzalone does well in as far as defending against the pass. Um, yeah, I think that his strength is defending against the pass. I think Jack Campbell, same thing. He's kind of struggled. I don't think that. I think that he does struggle in the aspect of those mobile quarterbacks. I think that just the fact that we don't have a pass rush, we don't have a strong pass rush opposite Hutchinson. So when he's being chased out, when he's being flushed out in one direction, but on the Hutch side, he's got some options on the opposite. So until we get a guy in there that can effectively rush the passer on the opposite side of Goff, I think we're going to continue to have problems with these mobile quarterbacks. So obviously we're missing CJ Gardner Johnson, we're missing Houston. Can't really worry about that. We got what we got. So I don't know if it means scheming better or yeah, it's tough to say if it's more of a personnel thing or if it's a scheme thing. Either way, we got to figure it out. real soon because yes, we do have Dobbs. We got 2 more games of Dobbs, and we got one more game against Fields, if nothing else. So we gotta figure it out real soon.
I think in the Detroit Lions case, the only option they have is to scheme and spy.
Yeah.
But what kills RPO, what kills any fast break type of offense, and I'm gonna say pause before I say it, and that's pressure up the middle and speed from your linebacker positions and your rush ends. You got to and speed from your safety position. All those uh I'll give you there was, and this is I learned this a few years ago. There was an Oregon team that looked, I think they played Auburn in the national championship. Oregon was one of those fast breaks, run and shoot, you know what I'm saying? Speed, right?
Right.
So they played Auburn in the championship game and they couldn't uh Auburn has some of the best athletes in the country. They have speed at linebacker. They have speed at rushing in. They were big up front. So what they did was they got such a push from the middle, and their linebackers and safeties were all over the place. So they couldn't do anything. So if you have speed at the linebacker position, speed at your safeties, and you can get pressure, that helps defend any kind of RPO because your quarterback has to be like you got to make the quarterback work. And I always say this, and I might be wrong, but when you have a quarterback that's running RPOs, you got to make that quarterback pay. I don't care if you think if you don't know if he got the ball, that's who you keying on. You have to hit him every play. You have to make that coach on that sideline being, he's getting killed on RPO.
Right.
So it's not being dirty, it's being physical with the quarterback. If he's going to be a runner, you have to make sure that he's the option. You key on him and you make him pay whenever he hands that ball off or whenever he does a fake or this, that, and other, or you think he's going to run. You hit him because there was one play in particular yesterday where Justin Fields faked the handoff, and I think it was either Anzalone or Hutch. One of them went for the running back, and Justin went right around him.
Mm-hmm.
No, hit that quarterback.
Right.
Make him hand the ball off. Take him out. The thing about an option is you make it not an option. Take that quarterback out. Now, I'm not saying play dirty, but I'm just saying key on Justin Fields because Justin Fields is probably the faster of all out of the running backs on his team. Probably just as good as runner as everybody. So you
Yeah.
have to stop him first and trust that your linebackers and your safeties can catch the next man because you don't want to be chasing Justin Fields. So, anyway, we don't want to make it seem like we were doomed yesterday because it was a victory. I don't want the energy to be like we got so much stuff to work on. We are very fortunate that we won yesterday. The offense woke up when it needed to, despite 3 interceptions and another fumble in our territory and being down 12 with 3 minutes left. To win by 5 points is a hell of a turnaround. I was very proud. Uh, I didn't think it would happen. I realized the Lions had a shot when J-Mo caught the touchdown, and we're gonna start giving J-Mo some love, y'all. Like, that let's get I've been seeing a lot of J-Mo hate, and he's made plays. He's not gonna give you, St. Brown reception numbers. He's not gonna give you Josh Reynolds reception numbers. However, he has the ability to make big plays. He had a couple of good catches yesterday. One was a very vital touchdown to start the comeback. And when he caught that monster, I said, there's still about 4 minutes left. There's still 3 or 4 minutes left. I said, if Detroit can 3 and out, it's over.
Right.
And that's what happened. What was the most impressive you thought about the game yesterday, Foss?
Well, I think the defense stepped up. Most importantly, we obviously gave up 26 points overall, but the defense definitely bailed out the offense. The offense turned the ball over 3 times. The special teams turned it over one time, and it definitely created good opportunities for the Bears offense. They were only able to convert. I think they had 2 touchdowns, and then they kicked 4 field goals. So the defense bent, but I feel like they didn't break. Obviously, Justin Fields got his, but like you said, he didn't pass for a ton of yards. As far as the running back didn't really get out too crazy. So I think that where, the offense picked up for the defense last week, I feel like it was the opposite this week. So I was definitely happy with what they did. The defense also scored. The safety is obviously a score. And we got a few sacks. So that was encouraging. I would like to see more sacks. I mean, the Hutchinson was, at the very end of the game. So
huge. That was huge.
Yeah, very big, very big. And we got and the guy we got out of the practice squad this past
he was balling a little bit.
Yep, he only had 35% of the snaps, but he definitely had a run stuff in the game, and that was huge. He came right in, no Isaiah Buggs, no Levi Onwuzurike. He came right in and made an impact from day one. So I was definitely happy with that.
Yeah, that was he was balling a little bit for him to just be brought up from the practice squad. It's gonna be real interesting with this pass rush going forward. I want to see if Irvin can contribute.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm thinking we should see him on Thanksgiving Thursday. I think we should see him. If not, definitely the following game. This is a quick turnaround.
Right.
But luckily for his position, it doesn't take a heck of a lot. Not trying to downgrade anybody's thinking or anything, but he's a rush in. You set the edge, you get the quarterback. You don't have to study a playbook too much or anything. You got 2 jobs on that defensive end, and that's to get to the quarterback and set the edge and not letting anybody get around you. So that's your job pretty much as a defensive end. So the Lions almost gave me a heart attack yesterday, bro. I was frustrated. I was very frustrated. I felt like it wasn't a very good first half, even though we were up 14-10. And then that third quarter looked very, very bleak. And for most of the fourth quarter. So the first half wasn't good, and the second half looked to be worse. There were so many penalties on third down to give them a first down. I think I counted 3. 2 of them was on Branch and 1 was on Jury. where they call a defensive holding, and it was only 5 yards, but it was like 3rd and 15 and 3rd and 20 and 3rd and 18, and that gave them an automatic first down. It was just crazy. Hold that
Well,
thought, Foster. Hold that thought, and we're gonna go, and I'll see you on the other side. But I'm gonna let you get that out. Hold on a second. What were you about to say, Foster?
what I was gonna say is that what's interesting, the first half was definitely a shaky one, but we actually went into halftime with the lead because
Mhm.
we got the ball back and we drove down under 2 minutes, the 2-minute drill, and scored a touchdown. So despite as bad as we were in the first half, we actually went into the second half um, possessing the ball, but also going into it with a 14-10 lead. So it just goes to show that the energy wasn't there. Even though we were up, it felt like we were kind of getting whooped on a little bit. So
Yeah, it didn't feel like we were up. They scored right before half, and we had the ball. We had all them. We could have took that momentum because receiving the ball after going up 14-10, and then I think the drive stalled. I think they got a first down or two, and maybe I can't remember exactly, but I remember punting, and I remember Chicago owning the ball for most of the quarter in that one drive.
yeah.
And I think they got a touchdown. I think on the insinuating kickoff, Craig Reynolds fumbled, and they got a field goal. And then there was another interception. It was just bad. It was just yesterday was just not. It didn't feel right, and it didn't feel good until like the end of the game. And this transitions into our grades. Foster, how do you grade the offense yesterday?
I give the offense a C plus. When
Mhm.
the game was on the line and it mattered the most, we got the job done, no doubt about it. Um, we were able to run the ball. We were even running the ball in situations where it was kind of like the clock wasn't on our side, but we were so locked in at that point that it didn't matter that we were running the ball. So I love to see that. Um, and Goff did throw 3 interceptions, but he also had 2 touchdowns. Um, yeah, he had one to give. I want to say he had one to Gibbs and he had one to Brown. But no. Jameson Williams and Brown were the 2
Yeah.
touchdown passes. So
Mhm.
those were huge. And yeah, I definitely the 3 turnovers I definitely have to hold against them overall. And but yeah, I can't penalize them too much because we did put up 31 points and we did win the game.
Put up 29 points.
Correct. 29 points because the safety was not on the offensive side. Correct.
Good 2-point conversion and 4 touchdowns. Uh, I was very impressed with the offense at times. Uh, the 3 interceptions and the fumble, and I do count that as offense, kickoff return. Uh,
Okay.
that's 4 turnovers. That's 4
That's
turnovers.
special
Golf
team.
It's special teams technically, but we have the ball. So hey, uh Golf threw 3 interceptions to 3 people who never had an interception before. Uh,
Before?
Jalen Jo that was their first career, uh, interceptions. If it wasn't their first career interceptions, it was their first interceptions of the year for
of
sure.
the year. Okay, fair enough.
For sure. Now, Jalen, what was his name? Jalen Johnson. He had 2 that he dropped.
Yes, he did. Good
He
point.
had 2 interceptions that he dropped, that he merely dropped. Uh, the running game, we, the Lions, can run the ball.
Mhm.
There's no doubt in my mind when Montgomery's in there, when you have Montgomery and Gibbs, it's going to be a problem because they can both get it done. Uh, that's your thunder and lightning, and it's like that last drive, the 2-minute drive to win the game, that last drive, they did a wonderful mix of running and passing. Like, Montgomery was getting yards 10 at a chunk, 10 yards a pop on that last drive, and that's just our ability to run the ball, and you have those outside threats. They had Chicago on their heels offensively, but I too would give them a C because of the turnovers and because of how long it took uh, to get to that point to take a lead offensively. So yeah, I agree with you. What do you grade the defense?
The defense I gave a solid B. Um, they got some sacks. Like I said, they bailed out our offense and our special teams quite a bit by holding them to field goals when they took the field, a couple times in Chicago's zone. So all that, although they did have some issues with Fields um, and DJ Moore, overall,
Mhm.
they held them to 26 points, and they bounced back well after a tough performance in LA. So yeah, I think overall they did well. Jerry did not have his best game. Jack Campbell didn't have his best game, but I think Anzalone had another good game. I think Aleem McNeil had a good game. And defense also scored when it mattered most. It was very important. We were able to get a strip sack turned safety. So that was major. They got the stop. They also got the stops that we needed in order to um, get the ball back as well. So that was those were crucial, and we really showed some championship pedigree by not playing our best and still finding a way to pull out a tough on the against a divisional opponent at home, but against a divisional opponent.
I gave the defense a C, and
Okay.
I, I'll tell you why. Um, that first drive, you can't give up a first drive like that to the quarterback that just got back on the field. He's been off, he's been hurt, and he made it look easy. The first time he hiked the ball, he ran around the edge for a first down. And I'm like, okay, let's tighten up, guys. And it didn't happen the whole drive. There was also a drive in the third quarter that just made it look like there was nothing we could do. The penalties, the defensive holds that were being called on the defense on third down was driving me insane. There was a couple of times where we had a defender stopped for a first down, and DJ Moore on one of the occasions basically got out of the tackle, made a first down. The running back was stopped on third down, and Branch tackled him and actually rolled him. He landed on Branch and rolled over for a first down. Just there was another. I think it might have been the same play, but there was a play where Cam Sutton comes up and makes a tackle short of the first down. But he doesn't wrap at all. He just goes in, he hits with his shoulder, and the running back kind of runs him over and gets a first down. Like these are techniques that if he does a textbook tackle where he's driving with his legs and wrapping with his arms, he doesn't get that first down. But that's a D back, and that's not their strong suit is tackling. You know,
Right.
you got a D back that can tackle, then you have a bonus. Uh, you know what I'm saying? They're cover guys. They do make tackles, but you know, to expect them to make every tackle textbook, you know, coming up from the secondary and stopping a running back full momentum, it's probably asking a lot, but third down, you gotta make it happen. Like, when you hit them, they need to go down right there. They don't need to go 2, 3 yards after you hit them. So, I had a big problem with not a big problem, but I had a problem with the defense yesterday. They did show up when they need that's why they're not getting a failing grade from me because they made plays when they needed to. Uh, could have been worse, could have been a whole lot worse, uh, but they made plays when they needed to, uh, and so I give them a C. Coaching. How you grading the coaching yesterday overall?
Um, I can't as far as offensively, I can't really put too much on the coaching. It's the player's job to execute. I think that play calling wise, they put them in a good opportunity to make some plays. As far as defensively, that's more the side that I do defensively. I do feel like that needs some work schematically. So overall, I'll give them I give coaching a B minus. I don't think we did I don't think we did a good enough job of preparing for the attack of Justin Fields, and I don't know. I feel like I saw Jerry Jacobs on. I feel like Jerry Jacobs. Who was there? Oh, Moore. I feel like DJ Moore was on Jerry Jacobs for a lot of that game. And when obviously Cam Sutton is our number one guy. So I don't know. Sometimes I don't know. I don't know why he ends up on the better receiver sometimes, but I did forget that Cam Sutton forced a fumble, which was
Key.
good to see.
Yeah.
And I think Anzalone recovered it. So
Yes, he did. You know, yesterday's game from a coaching standpoint, it wasn't one of those games where Dan Campbell had to take a lot of risk, where you just or any trickery or any fake punts or stuff like that. It was one of those grinded out games, like uh, you're hanging around and you're making plays here and there, and you stay within striking distance. It didn't look like they were in striking distance in the fourth quarter, being down 12 with 3 minutes, but they definitely were in striking uh, a distance, and they made it count. Uh, I'll give them a C, and only because I'm giving everybody else a C. Uh, Not trying to discredit the Bears, but that game's a lot tighter than it needed to be. Like, it didn't have to be that. It didn't have to be that way. I think if you play up to your ability and like I said, it's not all on the coaches. The players have to make the plays. And there were some plays that the players definitely whiffed on. They left some stuff out on they left some plays on the field that they could have did better on. But it's not one of those games where you the last drive, Ben Johnson called it masterfully. That last touchdown drive, that was a great display of play calling. I think the first touchdown drive was very, very it was great play calling all the way around the board. The touchdown uh to get us within striking distance in the fourth quarter with the bomb to JMO, great call. Um, if I keep going, they could get a B. So it's one of those things, you know what I'm saying?
Hey,
Because that offense at times looked so dynamic, and it's and I don't think Porter caught a pass until late. He
yeah,
was quiet
he's
for a
been
long
real quiet the last couple weeks for sure.
so well, so I'll leave it at that for now. Probably a little bit better than I think I'm looking at the game overall and not really taking a deep look into what the coaches did yesterday. But like I said, that game was a lot closer than it needed to be for my own comfort. Because at times Chicago looked dominant, and I don't think any team should look dominant versus Detroit at home. I might be uh I might be tripping or something, but I did not expect Chicago to look that good versus us yesterday. And hats off to them because they played it, but it was a long plane ride home. I know because they did everything they could to win it. Um, and they probably believe that they deserve to win. So
Oh yeah.
l- let me take a step to the side, Foster, and give you the floor. Foster's going to bring you our featured player of the week. I'm going to step aside. Foster does his thing with this thing. You do a masterful job talking about these players. So, without further ado, the floor is yours, brother.
All right. So the feature player for this week is somebody that has been very heavily publicized and a lot of controversy behind his name. But I felt like it was pretty fitting to have him. He had an excellent game yesterday. But Williams, our speedy slot receiver out of Alabama. He originally went to Ohio State, played there for the first 2 years of his career in college, and he transferred to Alabama in his junior year, and he was a SEC All-American his final year at Alabama. He played in the national championship game where he would ultimately tear his ACL. The Lions would trade up for him with the Vikings. They had a few pick swaps and traded up in the draft to go get him. And that was kind of the beginning of the controversy because obviously we went up, we traded up to draft a guy that we knew had just torn his ACL in February and would not be back. We slowly worked Jameson Williams back into the lineup. He made his debut in week 13 against the I'm not sure. He made his debut on the 13th week. It wasn't until the 14th week that he got his first reception, which was also a touchdown. So that was the beginning of the Jameson Williams saga. And obviously, it was pretty late in the year. We didn't make the playoffs, so he didn't have a good opportunity to really catch a groove with the team. And after that original season, he was obviously suspended for the first 4 games of the year because of violating the gambling policy. So once again, everybody was excited about seeing a full year of Jameson Williams, and sure enough, he was suspended, and obviously he wasn't able to get as much work in with Jared Goff and everybody else as he would have liked to. But like I said, in the 5th week of the year, he comes back, and against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers was his first kind of breakout game of the second year, where he had he caught 2 of his 3 targets, including a long touchdown, which ended up being a pretty big a pretty big reception on the road. And overall, we slowly started to gear him up in the season. He has it The amount of percentage of snaps has gone up every week, and until this week where he had 65% of the snaps, and he is developing that trust and that chemistry with Jared Goff. And obviously, this past Sunday, he got he caught another touchdown pass at a very pivotal time in the game, and that just goes into some of the trust. He has had issues catching the ball early on in his career, and the fact that Goff was willing to instill that trust in him to make a catch in a tough part of the game just goes to show where they are at right now in the development process. And yeah, 65% of the snaps, which is that's a lot for not necessarily for a first round pick, but for us, for the amount that we're used to seeing Jameson Williams play. Because we get excited when we see him just on the field, let alone having the ball thrown to him. So Ben Johnson has worked really hard trying to incorporate him into the offense. They've done some end arounds, they've done some screens, and he's had a couple touchdowns called back due to some questionable calls. So Jameson Williams is starting to build that confidence necessary. He has touched pay dirt a few times, and a couple of them counted, a couple of them didn't. So overall, he is a smooth route runner. He's very, very fast. He ran a 4.36, very quick and twitchy, and he gets good separation on his routes. He has had issues in the past catching the ball, but I think a lot of that is due to his concentration. I just think that sometimes he is not fully focused, and it has affected his ability to catch the ball thus far. But I think that he is really starting to fall into his role. I think he's really buying into into the game plan, and he is a willing blocker. He really has bought into the no block, no rock policy that Ben Johnson has instilled, and it just is a good thing to see, because people were very critical of Jameson Williams, and they thought there was some maturity issues, and him, being upset about not getting the ball. So to see him do the little things such as getting blocks and, chasing down guys to make sure our running backs can score some touchdowns, it's huge. It's huge in the grand scheme of things. So that was a long-winded, overview of Jameson Williams, but he's one of our most heavily publicized and scrutinized players. So a lot to say about him.
Give my man a good old Lions roar. Y'all gonna stop sleeping on J-Mo, man. And we're gonna stop the critique about him. He's definitely showing his worth. And we're gonna stop hating on J-Mo. We need him. So this is not a time to it's too early to give up on him, and he's been shown the ability to make plays. We'll be back on the other side with our ads there. It's a short turnaround, Foster. We got 3 more days and it's back on the gridiron. Got the Lions on Thanksgiving, man. I don't think Thanksgiving in Detroit or Michigan would be the same without Detroit Lions, no matter what the record is. We are going to watch the Detroit Lions on Thanksgiving Thursday, man. It's just no matter the record, no matter how horrible they are, there's always this sense of they're going to win today. Even though there's been a lot of losses on Thanksgiving, in the past, but there's always it's like tradition in my family where uh yeah, when I was a kid, where all the grown folks would would be eating and watching the Lions play, and my grandmother would make sure dinner was done by 12:30, 1 o'clock, because the Lions were on first thing.
You guys,
They
you guys, so
started
you
at
guys
1.
eat before 1?
My grandmother when my grandmother it was her when she decided to have Thanksgiving dinner at her house, it was ready that morning. You can
Wow.
literally go to my grandmother's house and have Thanksgiving dinner at 11 o'clock,
Wow,
and
that'd be great.
and well, she'd be up all night, she'd get up early in the morning, and it's ready, like and everything was from scratch, like, uh, when my mother when my mother cooked, though, that's a different thing. Now, it'll be ready by 2. It wasn't gonna be ready before halftime.
Right, yeah,
So
yeah.
so, uh, I think with, uh we're not doing a big meal over here Thanksgiving, but most of the stuff will be done by halftime. So that's just I don't really want to be doing too much. Like I'm cooking a lot, so the stuff that I'm doing, I'll do Wednesday night, and it's going in pans, and it's nothing but putting them in the oven the next morning. The dressing, the macaroni and cheese, I'll do the greens early, and whatever the wife is gonna cook with it, I'll let her do what she's gonna do. So, but it's gonna be a good game, and it's the Packers. Are you worried about the Packers?
Um, I think that the Bears have shown that these NFC North battles, home or away, are not gimme games. So I think that um I think it's gonna be it could be a tough fight. I mean, I really thought the Bears were gonna be. I think everybody thought that the Bears were gonna be a pretty tough, or were gonna be a pretty easy
Easy out.
team. So
Yeah.
the Packers are coming off a win against the Chargers. We're obviously very familiar with the Chargers. They handled them, and Jordan Love had a pretty good game. So I am prepared for, and we don't have much time. We don't have a whole lot of time for this preparation wise. We did handle them pretty easily in Lambeau Field, so that is a very favorable thing. But um, I can't act like it's just going to be a walk in the park. I refuse to believe that. But we need to go in there and you know go 2 for 2 against those guys and keep them and hold them down. So
Wait, hold up. Hold up. Why do you have on Bay Packers colors anyway, Foster?
you know what? I saw the yellow.
It's freaking disgusting,
Wow.
man. It's
Yeah,
freaking disgusting, man. You're grossing me out.
this is one of my favorite
You got
shirts.
on the
I like this shirt.
and the hat is green, the shirt is
Crazy.
oh gosh,
Crazy. It's not the it's more of an army green. It's more of like a camo olive green.
Foster.
But it
I'm
looks
not
crazy,
buying it.
doesn't it?
It's the wrong week to wear Packers colors,
That
bro.
is crazy. I look like a Packers affiliate. I like green. I like
You
the color green.
do. I like green too, but you don't wear it during Packers week.
It's crazy. That was completely unintentional. That was
If
very
the Lions lose, it's Foster's fault for wearing Green Bay Packers colors on a Lions show,
that was the theme
previewing the game.
at the beginning of the show, was that it's Foster's fault. So it falls in line. It falls in line.
Oh man, you're wearing that badge of the bad guy like it's like a badge of honor, man. I'm proud of you.
I'm a villain.
That's kind of dope, man. You're a villain, man. I I worry about uh our Achilles heel as of lately has been our defense. Uh
Yeah.
Green Bay beat the Chargers yesterday. So they're no slouch. They are no slouch. Uh, I think we win the game, but I don't think it's going to be easy by no means. The Green Bay Packers, they play us pretty tough regardless, especially on Thanksgiving they play us tough. We've had some miserable Thanksgivings versus the Pack. I they worry me a little bit, but one thing is they shouldn't have their top running back
Right.
because he looked like he was in pretty bad shape leaving the field, and it's a quick turnaround. They played yesterday
Right.
in 3 more days. So, I'm not expecting to see him on the field. Uh, they had problems with our pass rush last time. Hopefully, history will repeat itself. Uh, they had trouble in the first half versus our pass rush. Uh, they got better defending, got keeping our defenders off of them, uh, in the second half. The first half, it was a party in the backfield, and they got better after. I remember their coach's halftime, uh, speech, interview, and said, "We just gotta have some pride and block and keep this defense from the backfield. It's all about pride." So they made some adjustments. He talked to his team, and they got better after half, and they kept the Detroit defensive line and kinda in check for most of the half, but it wasn't a close game. It wasn't a
Right.
close game. I
That
mean,
third quarter though, that third quarter was a
the
little
3rd
tough.
quarter, they made a run in the 3rd quarter,
Yeah.
but it subsided, but I'm starting to see a theme in the 3rd quarter, man. Starting to see a theme in the 3rd quarter.
That's coaching.
Starting to
That's
see a theme. Uh, the Chargers, the Packers, uh, Chicago, they've owned the 3rd quarter versus us. They've owned it. So, and that's right after half. So, hopefully it's not one of those things where it continues. And like I said, the defense concerns me. I know we have the players to compete and be better. It's a matter of minute. Uh, that's what's concerning me because we do have a pass rush. We do have a capable. We do have a. The defensive front is our strongest suit. Shouldn't have to worry about pressure with that being our strongest suit.
well, we're
Correct?
deep. We're deep. We have a lot of rotational guys, but I think we lack the
Other end.
just the dependable, guy that you just know is going to get there. I think that I don't think that we have that on as far as the end is concerned. I think Aleem McNeil's having is having his best year rushing a quarterback through the middle,
Mhm.
but on the other end, you got the Aquara brothers, you got Charles Harris, you got Pascal, a number of guys, but nobody that you can count on that's gonna pin his ears back and just get after it on the other end. So I'm hoping to see some sacks in the next some QB sacks in on Thursday.
Pause.
Yeah. I cleaned it up. I tried to clean it up. Hoping to see some sacks. Jesus Christ.
Yo. Well, that about do it for today's show. We ran late, and I know you guys want to catch Monday Night Football. Kansas City versus Philly. That ought to be a great game. And I do believe in watching what other teams do against teams that we've played.
Right.
I want to see how well Philly plays against Kansas City. I do think Philly will win because Kansas City hasn't looked like Kansas City of old. And I want to see what this RPO does tonight. I'm really paying attention to the RPO. But Jalen doesn't run. They run versions of it. It's not heavy as Baltimore. It's not heavy as Chicago. They do run some of it though. But
Right.
Baltimore is very, very RPO heavy. Like that's what they do all game offensively. Same with looks like Chicago's going to do. I know they did Sunday. They did yesterday. So you got any last words before we get out of here, Faust?
I'm rooting for the Chiefs, man. If they can beat the Eagles tonight, I think we end up being in a tie, but after a win, hopefully against the Packers, we will have sole ownership of the number one team in the NFC. How does that sound 10 games into the year?
Sounds great. And let me for clarity. I'm rooting for the Chiefs as well. I just think Philly's that good and not going to
Yeah.
lose.
I mean,
But
if I was a betting man, yeah.
Hopefully, we're all 8-2 at the end of the day. So, once again, if you missed this broadcast and you want to catch it, it'll be published right after the show on YouTube or Motor City Metrics. And you can also check us out on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, any streaming platform. You put in Bleachers and Speakers, FFSN, and you can listen to us. You don't have to watch us. You can listen to us on your way to work, whether you're working out. Just check us out there and download it. You can download it and listen to it later. Just check us out there. Support us on those platforms. If you can't watch us live, you can catch us every Monday, 7:00 when Foster's not late. Motor City Metrics on YouTube. We also do a Pistons show, which we'll do a Pistons show. What day did we say? Tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
We're doing a Pistons show, and that's a different podcast. That's post-game podcast. We got a lot to say about this Pistons team, and they're playing right now. Got a lot to say about this Pistons team, and we'll be on tomorrow. What time, Foster?
Probably a similar time. But
about 7:00. We'll be here. Motor City Metrics post game podcast. You can check us out where we talk Pistons. And like I said, if you missed that show as well, you can catch us on Spotify post game podcast FFSN on all those same streaming platforms. So you can see me and Foster talk football, or you can see us talking basketball, or listen to us do both. So pretty dope, man. Foster, we'll figure out the figure outs on your computer, but it's looking crispy though, and it didn't have any issues. So it still was, even though we had the reason why we're late, Foster had some technical difficulties, but as you can see, looking pretty crispy, and
that green and yellow looking real clean.
All right, man, let's get out of here, bro. That's enough. That's just uncalled for.